I never thought a single moment on a rainy highway could split my life into two versions, before and after. Before, my world was small but familiar. My mother's sharp voice in the kitchen, my little brother Noah's laughter echoing down the hallway, and the quiet comfort of believing that family, no matter how complicated, would always show up when it mattered. After, everything was different. It started on an ordinary Thursday evening. I was driving home from my shift at the marketing firm, tired but relieved the week was nearly over. Noah had texted me earlier, asking if I could help him study for his final exam. He was 17, brilliant in that absent-minded way that made teachers adore him. I promised I'd be home soon. The rain came suddenly, thick and heavy, turning the road into a blurred mirror. I remember gripping the steering wheel tighter, squinting through the windshield, telling myself to slow down. Then the headlights. A truck fishtailed in the opposite lane, hydroplaning. For one breath, it seemed to freeze in place. And then it slammed into me. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. My body jolted violently as the world spun. The last thing I heard was my own voice calling Noah's name, as if he could somehow pull me back from the darkness. When I woke up, the ceiling above me was white and too bright. Machines beeped steadily. My mouth was dry, my limbs heavy as stone. A nurse noticed my eyes fluttering open. "You're awake," she said gently, as if afraid to scare me back into unconsciousness. "Do you know your name?" "Lena," I whispered. Pain flared through my ribs like fire. "You've been in an accident," she continued. "You're lucky to be alive." Lucky. The word didn't feel real. Hours later, a doctor explained the damage. A fractured pelvis, 2 broken ribs, a concussion, and deep bruising along my spine. Surgery wasn't necessary, but recovery would be long. Months of physical therapy. No walking unassisted for weeks. As he spoke, I kept waiting for the familiar chaos of my mother bursting into the room, demanding answers, making everything about her. But she didn't come. Instead, Noah arrived first. He practically collapsed into the chair beside my bed, his eyes red-rimmed. "Lena," he choked out, reaching for my hand carefully, like I might break again. I thought. "It's okay," I whispered. "I'm here." His shoulders shook. "Mom's, she's on her way." I nodded, though something in my chest tightened. My mother, Marissa, was never on her way quickly for anyone but herself. When she finally appeared, it was nearly midnight. She swept into the hospital room wearing a beige trench coat, her hair perfectly smoothed, makeup untouched. She looked like she'd come from a dinner party, not her daughter's bedside. She stopped short, eyes scanning me. "Well," she said, exhaling dramatically. "This is a lot." No hug, no tears, just assessment. Noah stood quickly. "Mom." Lena could have died. Marissa waved a hand like he was overreacting. "She didn't die, did she?" I stared at her, too stunned to speak. Then she turned to me, lips pursed. "Do you know how expensive ambulances are? I hope you have good insurance." My throat went dry. "Mom," Noah said sharply, "what is wrong with you?" Marissa's eyes flashed. "Don't speak to me like that. I'm the one who has to deal with the aftermath." The aftermath. As if I were debris from the crash. I swallowed painfully. "I'm sorry." The apology slipped out by instinct, trained into me from childhood. Apologize first, even when you've done nothing wrong. Keep the peace. Marissa's posture softened slightly, satisfied. "Good, because this is going to create problems. I was supposed to have brunch with Elaine on Saturday. I can't be stuck here playing nurse." Elaine was her friend from the country club. Of course. Noah looked like he might explode. "Playing nurse? She's your daughter." Marissa ignored him. She leaned closer to me. Her perfume was sharp, expensive. "Listen," she murmured, lowering her voice. "The hospital will want payments. The accident will cause delays. I need you to transfer $4,200 to my account by tomorrow." For a moment, I genuinely thought I'd misheard. "What?" I croaked. Her expression didn't change. "I'm going to need compensation. My schedule is disrupted, and I have bills too. Your grandfather's trust covers your expenses, doesn't it? So it's not really coming out of your pocket." The room tilted. Noah stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly. "Are you serious? She's lying here broken and you're asking for money?" Marissa's eyes hardened. "Lower your voice. People will think we're dramatic." Then she looked at me again, impatient. "So, can you do it or not?" Pain burned behind my eyes, not from my ribs, but from something deeper. My own mother was standing over me, demanding money instead of offering comfort. I whispered, "Mom, I can't even walk. And I can't pause my life," she snapped. "Everyone has hardships, Lena. Don't make this your whole personality." Noah's fists clenched. "Get out." Marissa blinked, offended. "Excuse me?" "Get out," he repeated, voice shaking. If you can't be a mother, then leave. For a second, I thought she might actually slap him. Instead, she scoffed. Fine. If you want to be ungrateful, handle it yourselves. She turned on her heel and walked out, heels clicking sharply down the hallway. Silence filled the room, broken only by the steady beep of the monitor. Noah sank back down, trembling. I'm sorry, he whispered. I stared at the door she'd disappeared through. Something in me cracked open. I had spent years excusing her. Years believing she'd change. But in that moment, lying helpless in a hospital bed, I realized a terrible truth. My mother hadn't abandoned me after the accident. She'd abandoned me long before. This was just the first time she didn't bother hiding it. 2 days later, I was discharged to recover at home. Noah helped me into the car, moving carefully, his face tight with worry. He'd taken time off school, insisted on staying with me. Marissa didn't come, not once. The house felt strangely quiet without her constant commentary, but it also felt lighter. Until the bills started arriving. Hospital charges, physical therapy estimates, medication costs, and then, a notification from my bank, transfer request, $4,200, pending approval. My breath caught. She hadn't asked. She tried to take it. I stared at the screen, hands shaking. Noah leaned over. What is it? She put in a transfer request, I whispered. His eyes went wide with fury. She has access? I swallowed hard. Yes. Because months ago, when my grandfather set up the trust fund after Dad died, Mom had insisted she needed oversight. She convinced Grandpa that as my mother, she should be able to step in. I had let it happen because it was easier than fighting. Now, from my trauma bed, she was reaching in like a thief. No's voice was low. We need to stop her. I stared at the transfer request. And for the first time since the crash, something colder than pain settled in my chest. Not fear, not sadness, anger. I pressed decline. Then, with trembling fingers, I opened the account settings. Revoke authorized access, Marissa Hale. Confirmation popped up. Access removed. Noah exhaled shakily. Good. I stared at the screen. It felt like cutting a cord I'd been strangled by my whole life. But deep down, I knew something else too. My mother wouldn't let this go quietly. And somewhere out there, she was already planning her next move. Because Marissa Hale didn't just demand money. She demanded control. And Grandpa still didn't know what she'd done. Not yet. The next morning, my body ached in ways I didn't know were possible. Every shift in bed felt like dragging broken glass through my ribs. Noah helped me sit up, adjusted the pillows, brought me water with a straw like I was made of fragile paper. But it wasn't the physical pain that kept me awake. It was the image of my mother's face in the hospital. Cold, annoyed, calculating. And that transfer request. She hadn't just been insensitive. She'd been intentional. The day passed in uneasy quiet. Noah tried to focus on schoolwork at the kitchen table, but I could tell his mind was still stuck on the same question that burned inside me. How could she? By evening, my phone buzzed again. A text. From Mom. Marissa. I noticed you declined the transfer. That was selfish. I stared at the screen, heart thudding. Another message came immediately. Marissa. I'm your mother. You don't get to shut me out. Noah saw my expression. Her? I nodded. He reached for my phone. Let me answer. No, I said softly. My voice surprised even me. Noah paused. Lena, I need to do this, I whispered. My fingers hovered, then typed. Lena. You tried to take money while I was in the hospital. Seconds later. Marissa. Don't be dramatic. That money is family money. Family money. As if I weren't family. Lena. You demanded $4,200 instead of helping me. The reply came slower. Marissa. You don't understand responsibility. I raised you. I sacrificed. You owe me. Oh, that word made something inside me turn to stone. I didn't respond. Noah watched me carefully. What now? I swallowed. Now, we tell Grandpa. Saying it out loud felt like stepping onto a ledge. Grandpa Walter wasn't just my grandfather. He was the reason Noah and I had survived after Dad died. When Mom spiraled into her social climbing obsession, Grandpa had quietly kept the lights on. Paid for school. Set up the trust fund so we'd never be trapped. And he adored Mom, in a tired, hopeful way. He still believed she was a good mother underneath. He didn't know the truth. Not fully. Noah's expression hardened. He deserves to. I nodded slowly. The next day, Noah drove me, carefully, like transporting something priceless, to Grandpa's house across town. Walter Hale lived in a modest home that smelled like cedarwood and old books. It wasn't flashy, despite the wealth he had. He'd always believed money was for protection, not display. When he opened the door, his face immediately fell with concern. "Lena," he breathed. "Oh sweetheart." His arms wrapped around me gently, careful of my injuries. For a moment, I almost broke. Almost let myself sob into his sweater like a child. He pulled back, eyes shining. "Why didn't anyone tell me how bad it was?" Noah's jaw tightened. "Mom knew." Grandpa's brow furrowed. "Marissa?" I swallowed hard. "Grandpa, we need to talk." He guided us into the living room, lowering himself into his armchair with slow gravity. He looked suddenly older than I remembered. "What is it?" he asked softly. I hesitated, then handed him my phone. The transfer request. The text messages. His eyes moved across the screen. At first, confusion. Then disbelief. Then, something sharper. His lips pressed together. "She demanded money?" he murmured. Noah couldn't hold back. "She tried to take it, Grandpa." While Lena couldn't even stand. Grandpa stared down at the phone like it was evidence from another world. "That's not," he began, voice cracking. "That's not like her." I let out a bitter laugh before I could stop myself. "It is," I whispered. "It's exactly like her." Silence filled the room. Grandpa looked up at me, pain deep in his gaze. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "Because I wanted to believe she'd love me someday. Because I didn't want to ruin your hope. Because I was tired. I didn't want to cause problems," I admitted. Grandpa's expression shifted then. Regret. And anger. "No," he said quietly. "She caused them." He stood abruptly, gripping the armrest for balance. "I need to make a call." My heart pounded. "Grandpa." He lifted a hand. "This trust was meant to protect you." Noah leaned forward. "She still has access to other things, doesn't she?" Grandpa's face darkened. "She shouldn't." He went into his study. We could hear drawers opening, papers shifting. Minutes later, he returned holding a thick folder. "The trust documents," he said. My stomach tightened. Grandpa sat again and opened the folder, scanning quickly. His finger tapped a line. "There," he muttered. Noah leaned in. "What?" Grandpa exhaled slowly. "When I set this up, Marissa insisted she needed access in case of emergencies. I allowed limited oversight, only to monitor, not withdraw." He looked up. "But she found a way to request transfers anyway." Noah's voice trembled with fury. "So she's been waiting." Grandpa nodded grimly. Then he reached for the phone on the side table. He dialed. Noah and I exchanged a glance. A moment later, a familiar voice answered through the speaker. "Dad?" Marissa's tone was bright, syrupy. "What a surprise." Grandpa's voice was calm. "Marissa." A pause. Then her tone shifted slightly. "Is everything okay?" "Yes," Grandpa said. "I just spoke with Lena." Silence. Then a small laugh. "Oh, well, I hope she's doing better." "She's been very emotional." Grandpa's grip tightened on the receiver. "Did you ask her for $4,200 while she was in the hospital?" The line went dead quiet. Then Marissa sighed. "Dad, she misinterpreted." "No," Grandpa said sharply. "She showed me the transfer request." Marissa's voice hardened. "It was for expenses. I've been under stress." "You were under stress," Grandpa repeated slowly, "because your daughter was in traction." Marissa snapped, "Don't guilt me. I have my own life." Grandpa's voice dropped dangerously low. "And does your life include stealing from the trust I created to keep my grandchildren safe?" A sharp inhale. "I'm not stealing. You tried to access money you are not entitled to." Marissa's tone turned icy. "Dad, you're overreacting. Lena is manipulating you." Noah's fists clenched. Grandpa's eyes flashed. "I am not the one being manipulated." Marissa's voice rose. "Then what? You're taking her side? After everything I've done?" Grandpa's reply was immediate. "What you've done is abandon her." Another silence. Then Marissa's voice softened, dangerously sweet. "Fine. If Lena wants war, she'll get it." The words sent a chill through me. Grandpa's expression went hard. "This isn't war. This is accountability." He hung up. Noah exhaled. "She's going to come back swinging." Grandpa nodded slowly. "She always does when she loses control." I swallowed. "Grandpa, what happens now?" Grandpa looked at me, something fierce and protective in his gaze. "Now," he said quietly, "I make one move she will never recover from." My breath caught. He leaned forward. "I'm revoking her completely." Noah blinked. "Completely?" Grandpa nodded. "She will have no access. No oversight. No connection to this trust at all." I stared at him. "But, she's your daughter." Grandpa's eyes softened for only a second. "And you are my granddaughter. And she has forgotten what that means." He stood again. "I have an attorney meeting tomorrow morning." My pulse quickened. "Grandpa." He placed a hand gently on my shoulder. "I should have protected you sooner." Noah's voice was quiet. "She won't take this lightly." Grandpa's jaw tightened. She already didn't. The next morning, Grandpa's lawyer finalized the changes. Marissa Hale was removed from every document, every access point, every permission. And then Grandpa did something else. Something I didn't expect. He filed an additional clause. If Marissa attempted to interfere again, she would lose her inheritance completely. By noon, Mom knew. My phone buzzed like a hornet's nest. Calls, texts, voicemails. Marissa, what did you do? Marissa, you turned Dad against me. Marissa, this is disgusting. Then, one final message that made my blood run cold. Marissa, if you think this ends here, you have no idea who you're dealing with. Noah looked over my shoulder, face pale. She's threatening you. I stared at the screen. No, she was promising. And deep down, I realized something terrifying. My mother wasn't just angry. She was cornered. And cornered people don't back down. They strike. That evening, as the sun dipped low, Grandpa called me. His voice was steady but serious. Lena, he said, I need you to listen carefully. My stomach tightened. What is it? He paused. She came to my house today. My heart lurched. What did she do? Grandpa exhaled slowly. She demanded I reverse it. When I refused, she smiled. I felt ice creep up my spine. A smile? I whispered. Yes, Grandpa said quietly. The kind that means she already has another plan. My hands trembled. Grandpa's voice dropped. And she mentioned something about court. The air left my lungs. Court? Noah's eyes widened. She's going legal. Grandpa's next words were heavy. She's going to try to declare you unfit, Lena. My heart slammed. She's going to come for everything, through the courts. The room seemed to spin. Noah whispered, she's insane. Grandpa's voice was firm. No, she's desperate. And desperate mothers are the most dangerous kind. The night after Grandpa warned me, I didn't sleep. Every creak of the house made my pulse jump. Every vibration of my phone felt like a bomb about to detonate. My mother had always been controlling, always sharp, always hungry for attention, but court was different. Court meant she was willing to destroy me publicly. Not just emotionally, legally. Noah stayed on the couch outside my bedroom like a guard, refusing to leave me alone. At 3 in the morning, I heard him whispering into his phone, probably texting a friend for notes he'd missed, but I knew the truth. He was trying to keep his life from collapsing while ours already had. The next afternoon, the official envelope arrived. Certified mail. My hands shook as Noah opened it carefully beside me. Inside was a court notice. Petition for temporary conservatorship. Filed by Marissa Hale. Claim. Lena Hale is mentally and physically unfit to manage her finances. Requested guardian. Marissa Hale. I stared at the words until they blurred. She actually did it, I whispered. Noah's voice broke. She's trying to take your life. My chest tightened, pain blooming beneath my ribs. Grandpa arrived less than an hour later, his face carved from stone. He read the papers once, then set them down with slow control. She's escalating, he murmured. Noah paced. How is this even allowed? It's allowed because she knows how to perform concern, Grandpa said quietly. She knows how to play the devoted mother. I swallowed hard. And because I'm injured. Grandpa's eyes softened. That's why she chose now. The timing wasn't accidental. My broken body was her opportunity. My silence was her weapon. Grandpa looked at me carefully. Do you trust me? I nodded instantly. With my life. He exhaled. Then listen. We don't panic. We don't argue with her in public. We don't give her the emotional spectacle she wants. Noah stopped pacing. So what do we do? Grandpa's gaze sharpened. We let her walk into the courtroom, and we end this. The hearing was scheduled for Friday morning. 3 days. In those 3 days, my mother moved fast. Family members I hadn't heard from in years suddenly texted. Aunt Denise, your mom is worried. Are you okay? Cousin Rachel, I heard you've been having issues. Please get help. Even Elaine, the country club friend, sent a message full of fake sweetness. Elaine, Marissa is just trying to protect you, dear. Protect. That word became poison. Noah read the texts over my shoulder, furious. She's already building the narrative. Grandpa nodded grimly. She wants witnesses, sympathy, a story. And you? Noah asked. Grandpa's mouth tightened. I want truth. The night before court, Grandpa came into my room carrying another folder. What's that? I asked. He sat carefully on the edge of the chair. My move, he said softly. I stared. What move? He opened the folder. Inside were bank records, trust access logs, screenshots of Mom's transfer attempt. But also something else. A document I hadn't seen before. A letter. Grandpa's handwriting. My breath caught. What is that? Grandpa's eyes were steady. A revision to my will. Noah froze. Grandpa? Walter Hale leaned forward, voice low. If Marissa goes through with this tomorrow, if she tries to steal from you through the courts, she will lose everything. My throat went dry. Everything? Grandpa nodded. She has always assumed she will inherit from me. That my money is her safety net. His jaw tightened. Tomorrow, she learns it isn't. The courthouse smelled like polished wood and old air. Noah wheeled me in carefully, my crutches resting against the chair. My injuries were visible, exactly what Mom wanted the judge to see. Marissa was already there, standing perfectly dressed in navy, hair flawless, expression carved into concerned heartbreak. When she saw me, she rushed forward, hands hovering like she wanted to touch me. "Oh Lena," she whispered loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. "Look at you, this is so hard." I didn't respond. Noah stepped between us like a shield. Marissa's eyes flashed with irritation, then softened again into performance. "Sweetheart," she said, voice trembling. "I'm just trying to help you." Grandpa arrived behind us. Marissa's smile widened. "Dad," she breathed. "Thank God you're here. You understand, don't you? She's not well." Grandpa's gaze was cold. "I understand perfectly." The courtroom filled slowly. Marissa had brought people. Elaine sat in the front row, lips pursed sympathetically. Two distant relatives whispered together. Even my father's old friend sat there, looking uncomfortable. Witnesses. A stage. The judge entered, a middle-aged woman with sharp eyes. "Be seated." Marissa's lawyer spoke first. He painted a picture of a fragile daughter, incapable of managing finances, vulnerable to exploitation. He described my paranoia about money, my refusal to accept family support. Marissa dabbed her eyes with a tissue at the perfect moments. Then he concluded, "For her own safety, Your Honor, we request temporary conservatorship under her mother's care." The judge turned toward me. "Ms. Hale, do you understand what is being requested?" My voice was quiet but steady. "Yes. And do you oppose it?" I swallowed. "Yes." Marissa's face tightened for half a second. The judge nodded. "Very well. Your counsel?" Grandpa stood. He didn't have a flashy lawyer. He didn't need one. His attorney rose calmly, holding the folder. "Your Honor," the attorney said, "this petition is not about concern. It is about control and financial theft." A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Marissa's eyes widened slightly. Her lawyer scoffed. "Baseless accusation." The attorney lifted a page. Exhibit A. Transfer request attempted by petitioner while Ms. Hale was hospitalized. He handed it forward. The judge's eyes scanned. Marissa's lips parted. "That was," she began. The judge held up a hand. Silence. The attorney continued. Exhibit B. Text messages demanding money for compensation for her inconvenience. More murmurs. Elaine stiffened. Marissa's lawyer stood quickly. "Your Honor, these are private family disputes." "No," Grandpa's attorney said calmly. "They are evidence of motive." Marissa's face flushed red. Then she leaned forward dramatically. "Your Honor," she cried, "I was stressed. I'm a mother trying to hold things together." The judge's gaze was sharp. A mother does not demand payment from her injured daughter. Silence. The attorney wasn't done. "Exhibit C," he said, voice steady, proof that petitioner's access to the trust was revoked for attempted misuse. The judge looked up slowly. "Ms. Hale," she said, "you attempted to access funds without authorization?" Marissa's voice trembled. "It was family money." The judge cut her off. "This court does not recognize entitlement as authorization." Marissa's performance cracked. She looked around, searching for sympathy. Elaine wouldn't meet her eyes. Then Grandpa stood. The courtroom stilled completely. He walked forward slowly, cane tapping once. "Your Honor," he said, voice low but carrying, "I would like to speak." The judge nodded. "Go ahead, Mr. Hale." Grandpa turned, looking directly at Marissa. "My daughter has spent her life believing money equals power," he said quietly. "She has confused control with love." Marissa's eyes flashed. "Dad." He raised a hand. "I created that trust for Lena and Noah after my son died. To protect them." His voice sharpened. "Not to fund Marissa's greed." Marissa's face went pale. Grandpa reached into his folder. "And because of what she has done, I made one move she cannot undo." He held up the letter. The judge leaned forward. "What is that?" Grandpa's voice was steady as steel. "A revised will." Gasps erupted. Marissa froze. Grandpa continued. "As of yesterday, Marissa Hale has been removed as a beneficiary of my estate." The courtroom went dead silent. Marissa's mouth fell open. "No," she whispered. Grandpa's eyes never left hers. "If she continues to harass or attempt legal theft against my grandchildren, she will receive nothing." Elaine's hand flew to her chest. Marissa staggered back as if struck. You can't, she choked. I'm your daughter. Grandpa's voice dropped. And they are my family. Marissa turned toward the judge, panicked. Your Honor, this is manipulation. The judge's expression was cold. No, Ms. Hale, this is consequence. She struck the gavel. Petition denied. Marissa's lawyer started to speak, but the judge wasn't finished. I am also referring this matter for investigation regarding attempted financial exploitation. Marissa's knees nearly buckled. No's hand gripped my shoulder. I couldn't breathe. It was over. Marissa looked around wildly, desperate for someone, anyone, to save her. Elaine stared at her like a stranger. Relatives looked away. Her entire stage had collapsed. Her voice broke. Lena, she whispered, pleading now, real now. Please. I stared at her. For a moment, I saw what she truly was beneath the polish. A woman who had built her life on control, and found nothing underneath. I spoke softly. You abandoned us when I needed you most. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean. Yes, I said quietly. You did. Grandpa placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. Come, he murmured. Noah wheeled me toward the exit. Behind us, Marissa's sobbing echoed through the courtroom. But I didn't turn back. Outside, sunlight poured across the courthouse steps. It felt unreal. Noah exhaled shakily. We won. Grandpa's voice was calm. No, he corrected softly. She lost. I looked up at the sky, breathing deeply despite the pain. My mother had tried to steal everything. My dignity, my future, my life. And Grandpa's one move, one undeniable act of truth, had changed everything. Not because it destroyed her, but because it finally freed us. And for the first time since the accident, I understood something clearly. Family isn't who demands control. Family is who shows up with protection. And now, we finally had it.